Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the third virtual flow yoga class. Well, we're going to start at 9. I just wanted to turn it on a little early to allow people to get in and get settled. Over the course of the next hour, let me know if you can't hear me. Just drop a comment and I will try to fix that as best as I can. I will take a sip of my lovely tea this morning. It's a very appropriate mug. It says hot mess. I hope that you are all staying safe and doing well. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We got a couple minutes before we actually get fully started here. That's good. I tapped it. I have my mom joining me today. She's going to be doing yoga alongside me. There she be.
Good morning.
When's the next time you're doing one, Mom?
Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. My mom will be doing this.
Flow and restore. She'll
be doing flow and restore. So not only do you get the benefits of building that organic natural heat, but then you also get a really, really beautiful relaxation restorative yoga session, which is really, really luxurious. Lots of relaxing poses to really calm the mind and to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system to really get us to unwind from all of this really high tension and that flight or fight response that we're all kind of stuck in right now with anxiety and paranoia and what have you, all these different emotions. Sometimes it feels like you can't seem to get control of, and so that'll be a really, really nice one to be able to get some physical movement in, especially now that gyms are closed and everything. So being able to do this, I'm really, really grateful to be a part of this community, to be able to bring this to you while you're at home in your own homes, weathering out this intense storm. Okay, it's 9 a.m. So let's take a moment to come into our breath. I'd like you all to start in child's pose. Child's pose is with your knees nice and wide, your big toes come to touch, and your arms are extended out in front of you. Your forehead comes all the way down to the mat. It's a pose of surrender, just giving in to these first few moments to come into your breath. If this is uncomfortable for your arms to be up, they can also be down along your sides. Child's pose is a wonderful, wonderful pose where you can just kind of take a break during yoga, during life. During yoga, if you're ever feeling like your breath becomes choppy or uneven or very labored, that's when you take a break in child's pose. I've definitely seen a lot of memes of random people doing child's pose in the aisles of stores. Just memes, not actual people doing it in real life, because that would just be awkward at this point. But lots of memes that say, my yoga teacher told me that I can do this at any time when I need a break. So taking these first few moments to come into your breath, your forehead is resting against the mat. You're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, feeling the belly expand on the inhale. Maybe it touches the tops of your thighs, and as you exhale, the belly button draws up against the spine. Just coming into your breath. Having a couple moments of stillness before we begin this practice of movement, the yoke and the union of breath and movement. Your only job in yoga is to breathe and to link that breath to your movement. You don't have to think about the tasks at hand that are waiting for you when you're done with this hour or however long you can spare for this morning. It's just about breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose, and then linking that to movement. Together, take a breath in and a long breath out. Maybe fire up your fingertips as if you have tennis balls underneath them. That really gets nicely into the shoulder joint. Slowly start to pull yourself up to hands and knees. Bring the knees back in under the hip points. The tops of the feet are still flat against the mat. Your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. And instead of looking directly in between your hands, pick a point a couple of inches in front of your fingertips for a nice neutral neck alignment. Yeah? This is called tabletop position. Engage through the core. Draw the belly button up toward the spine. Broaden across the chest. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Seal the entire hand. Press all 10 fingers into the mat. We're going to come into a couple of cat-cows just to warm the spine up here. So on an inhale, you're going to lift the heart, tip the tailbone up. And as you exhale, you push the mat away from you. Round through the spine. Draw the chin into the chest, drawing the belly button up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, push and round away from you, yeah? So to your own breath, go ahead and keep moving through this, linking that breath to movement. Inhale to lift the heart, and exhale to tuck the chin into the chest and round. Inhaling deep and exhaling. Really pressing the tops of the feet into the mat will ensure that you're fully activating your legs. And you can feel the difference if you relax the tops of your feet and then really actively press them into it. You can feel the difference in your legs and how much more muscular activity and energy you're expending when you actually physically activate the leg fully. Couple more of these. Let's all come back to stillness with that nice neutral spine and neck alignment. The gaze is a couple inches in front of the fingertips to allow for that nice neutral neck. On an inhale, raise the right leg to hip height. Flex through that foot as if you could put a footprint on the back wall behind you. Really internally rotate that back leg so you're pointing the knee and the toes toward the ground, spiraling that thigh up. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift the left hand up as if I were in front of you and you were going to shake my hand. Yeah, so spreading those fingers, nice energy through those. One more deep inhale, draw up through the belly, and then exhale, release it all down. Place the foot and the hand back on the mat or the ground. On your next inhale, raise the left leg to hip height, flexing through that left leg, internally rotating, and then on your next inhale, raise the right hand as if you're going to shake my hand. Nice energy, yeah? No noodle arms. One more deep inhale, draw up through the belly, get a little taller, and then exhale, release it all down. I'd like you now in this tabletop position to just kind of come into some really large circles. So you're going to extend the hips back over the heels and then draw yourself forward. So you're just making these nice big circular motions. And you can pause, really get curious and playful here about the sensations that you're feeling within your body, as you can go as slowly or as quickly as you want. Just circling your entire body from this tabletop position. So you're kind of going almost down into a child's pose, but then you just continue to flow and you inhale and pull yourself back up and then exhale, like lower the hips down. Inhale, come back through the circle, and then go ahead and go the opposite direction if you'd like to. Getting into the hips, getting into the spine. Slowly start to come back to stillness. Pause in this nice tabletop position. Really draw in through the belly. Get nice and tall, even though you're not exactly sitting up straight. Tuck the toes. Let's lift the hips and come into our first down dog of the day. Maybe it's not the first down dog of the day for you, but even so, you can either pedal out your feet here, or you can remain in stillness and just feel your body and feel where you might be holding tension. And as you breathe in through the nose, on your exhale, maybe you bring a little bit of softness to those areas where you're holding tension, okay? Everyone, inhale all the way up to the tippy toes, lifting the heels, and as you exhale, just lower the heels even further to the earth. We're going to do that a couple more times. Inhaling up to the tippy toes, exhale, lower the heels. One more time. Inhale up, pause, and then exhale, lower the heels. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, glide forward to upper push-up position. Hold that there, really stacking the heels over the toes. Your wrists are directly under your shoulders. And exhale, send the hips back to down dog. On an inhale, look between your hands. Glide forward to upper push-up one more time. And exhale, send the hips back again. back in down dog. Everyone bend the knees very generously. Hover the shins over the mat. And as you exhale, extend the legs fully. Lift the hips super high. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump your feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Grab the left wrist with the right hand. Get nice and tall, and as you exhale, go over to the right. Inhale, back up. Switch the grip. Exhale, over to the left. Inhale, back up. Release the hands. Really spread those fingertips. Reach high. Maybe look up, and then exhale. Pull your hands down through heart center and forward fold over those legs. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands. Step it on back to upper push-up position. Let's begin to hold this and build some heat. So, heels are stacked over the toes. You're broadening across the chest, really sending the heart forward energetically, thinking about sending it forward. Really engaging through the core. Don't let the hips sag. All right, so on your next exhale, you're going to bend the elbows in toward the side bodies, lower to the mat in one piece. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Inhale up for a little baby cobra. Exhale, release. We're going to do that again. Press the tops of the feet into the mat and inhale to lift a little bit. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes, push up through hands and knees or through plank, and send the hips right on back, coming back into down dog. Nod the head yes, shake it no when you arrive in your down dog. Focus on your hands, really sealing, especially that index knuckle to the mat, and that will help to take some of the pressure off of your wrist, which can sometimes be uncomfortable in down dog, especially when teachers go into telling stories when they leave you in down dog. Don't worry, I won't do that right now. On an inhale, raise the right leg to hip height. Bend at the knee, open the hips. Really stay flexed through that foot, like you could put a footprint on the back wall, or I could give you a high five. And go ahead and exhale. Send that back down, planting it next to the left foot. On an inhale, lift the left foot to hip height. Bend at the knee. Open those hips. Nice flexion through that foot. Beautiful. And exhale. Bring it right on down to meet the right. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Maybe a little mini back bend. Look up with your hands. And then exhale, swan dive on forward. Forward folding once again. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands. Step it on back to upper push-up position. And this is what's called a vinyasa flow, this repetitive couple of movements that we're doing. So you can choose to lower down all of the way, coming into your cobra, or you can just send the hips right back to down dog. And you always have that option. You can flow through and rinse it off, or you can just send the hips right back to down dog, because we'll always meet back in that position, okay? Nod the head yes, shake it no one more time. On an inhale, raise the right leg to hip height. Look in between the hands, and on your exhale, bring the knee to the right elbow. You're going to keep it hovered. You're not going to bring that foot up in between. You're going to keep it hovered. We're building a little bit of core strength right here. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, bring it across the mat to the opposite left elbow. Keep it hovered above the mat. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, bring it in between the hands, hovering the shin over the mat, holding it there, and then go ahead and plant that foot in between the hands. Now you're in a nice low lunge position. Your heel is stacked directly over your toes. Your feet are in two different lanes for balance. And when you're ready with that base, inhale to rise. Stack the shoulders over the hips. Pull the front right hip back, squaring the hips to the front of your mat. Engage through that core. Your hands can be up, framing your head. If so, please relax the shoulders away from the ears. If this is a little bit too much and you want more comfortability in the shoulders, you can bring them down to this nice cactus arm. You can even take the hands to heart center. You could even grab a bind behind you. And if you do that bind with your hands interlaced at the small of your back, just make sure that your palms are touching. And if you have to bend the elbows to make that happen, then please do that. Imagine a string at the top of the head. You inhale and get nice and tall. Draw the inner thighs together. Release the hands from wherever they are. Sweep them up. Maybe look up with them. And exhale. Bring them down to frame that front foot. Step the back foot halfway up your mat. Now you're in what's called pyramid pose. So both of your toes are pointing parallel toward the front of your mat. Your hands are down, framing the front foot. You can bring the hands to come to hold the ankle to make it more of a balance pose. If you have blocks, you can take blocks to either side of the foot. Breathe here. Really pull that front right hip back, squaring the hips again in pyramid. Breathing into the long lines of energy that are the backs of your legs right now. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Bring the back foot all the way up to meet the right. Now you're back in your forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms all the way up. Sit the hips right back into chair as if there were a nice invisible sofa or chair behind you. So the hips get nice and low. You're bending very generously in the knees to get right into those, the tops of the quads, which is definitely what we're going to start to build some heat into, yeah? Engage the core to protect the low back. Sometimes the low back will kind of banana back, and when you engage the core, it protects the low back, okay? Draw the shoulders away from the ears. The hands can be at heart center or at your hips, or you can take that bind again, interlacing the hands at the small of the back, making sure the palms are touching. Inhale to get nice and tall through the crown of the head, and exhale, forward fold, straighten the legs, and pour it all out. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hand, step it on back to upper push-up position. So this is that vinyasa flow sequence, yeah? So you can choose to lower down, untuck the toes, inhale up, or just send the hips right back because we're all going to meet in down dog. That nice upside down triangle. When we all get there, we're going to inhale the left leg up to hip height. Look in between your hands. Keep it hovered as you exhale. Bring the left knee to the left elbow. Keep it nice and hovered. Yep. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, bring it across the mat to the opposite right elbow. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, bring it through. Hover that shin right in between the hands, and then go ahead and set that foot down, coming into your low lunge on the left side. Your back right heel is stacked right over the toes. And when you have that base, you can inhale to rise. Stack the shoulders over the hips. Hands can come up to frame the head, or then come down to that goalie post arm, or you can take that bind. If you take the bind, really engage the core to protect your low back so you're not causing an extra curve. Pull the left front hip back, squaring the hips to the front of the room. Where's the core? If you want to intensify here, you can look up. You can close your eyes. It's amazing how much that actually intensifies your yoga practice when you close your eyes. It's very difficult for me anyways. All right, inhale the arms up, looking up, and then exhale. Cartwheel the hands down, frame that front foot, step the right foot halfway up the mat, coming into pyramid with the left foot forward. You can grab that left front ankle with your hands to make it more of a balanced pose. And you're going to pull that left front hip back to square the hips, just like we did in crescent. And breathe. Really sending the breath to the hamstrings, the calves, the ankles. On your next inhale, come up for a halfway lift. Exhale, fold over that front leg. Bring the right foot all the way up to meet the left. Now we're back in that forward fold. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms right up, and we're going to sit right back into chair again. Stay nice and light through all 10 toes. If you'd like to intensify here, you can also lift the heels up. That's a nice intensification. Really fire up. Engage that core. Really suck in that belly button. Pretend you're on the beach. Suck it in. If your heels are lifted, you can lower them. Inhale one more time, and then exhale, forward fold, straightening the legs. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands, step it on back to upper push-up position. You can flow if you'd like, or send the hips right back to down dog. So flowing through is exhaling, bending the arms in, inhaling up for baby cobra, and then exhale, sending the hips back. Beautiful. On an inhale, raise your right leg to hip height. Look in between your hands, and on an exhale, bring that foot all the way through, right in between the hands. Set up that base, and then when you're ready, you inhale to rise. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Pull the front hip back. All right, so let's swivel the back heel down. Open the hips, open the arms, and come on right into your warrior two. So your right toes are pointed forward and your left toes are pointed perpendicular. And that's your base for that warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, bring it back, sliding the fingers down the back leg. Straighten that front leg, and then inhale, reach back forward, push the back hip out, reach, 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 and then hinge at the hip, bringing the hands down to a block or to your shin. This is triangle. Your left arm is up. If you want to reach it over your ear, you can. If you want even more, you can also bring the right arm up to meet it as if you were holding a beach ball. That gets right into the abs for you. Breathe deeply. Look down at your front leg. Bend into that front knee. Come up to the toes of the back foot. You're back in a nice low lunge position. Lower the back knee down. You can untuck the toes or keep them tucked. And then inhale, rise up for this nice modified crescent. Bring the hands down on the exhale. Frame the front foot. Extend the front leg all the way back, sending the hips back over the ankle. Really flex through that front foot. This is called a runner's lunge. Inhale, bend through the knees, sweep the arms up, come back to stack the shoulders over the hips, coming back into that crescent. And exhale, bring the hands down to frame the front foot, extend the front leg, and send the hips back. So to your own breath, do this a couple more times. Flowing through, linking the breath to movement. Inhaling up. Exhale, sending the hips back and extending the front leg. One more time. Inhaling up. And exhale. Send the hips back and extend. Pause here in this nice runner's lunge. Really stay nice and flexed through that front foot to protect the back of your knee. And on an inhale, re-bend into that front knee. Now you're back in this nice modified low lunge position. Tuck the back toes, come up off of the back knee. Send the right foot back to meet the left. Now you're back in down dog with your hips lifted. Yep, go ahead and lift those hips. On an inhale, raise the left leg to hip height. Look in between the hands, and on an exhale, sweep that foot right on through in between the hands. You're in this nice low lunge position. Set that up, and when you're ready, inhale to rise. The back heel is directly over the toes. Nice 90-degree angle in that front left knee. Taking whichever arm variation you want, whatever it is, just softening the skin on the tops of the shoulders to draw them away from the ears, drawing the shoulder blades onto the back, broadening across the chest. Swivel the back heel down, open on up to warrior two. Bend a little deeper into that front knee. Beautiful. If you need to relax your shoulders, you can also flip your palm up in warrior two and then flip it back down. Now we're only going to flip the front palm, then inhale, bring it back, sliding the fingers down the back leg. Straighten the front leg. Inhale, come back forward. Send the back hip back, reach, 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 and then you hinge over the front leg, coming into triangle on the left. Your right hand is up. It can come up over the ear. If you want more of the abs, you take both arms out toward the front of your mat, holding that invisible beach ball. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. If you need more opening across the chest, you can always take the right hand to the top of it, and you can send that right to the low back, to the sacrum. Really open up. You can even look up at the ceiling if that's comfortable for your neck. Look down at your front knee. Begin to re-bend into that front knee. Come up to the toes of the back. Bring both hands down to frame the front foot. Lower the back knee down. You can keep the toes tucked or untucked, whatever's comfortable for your knee. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale up, sweeping the arms up. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down to frame the front foot. Send the hips back and extend the front leg. Nice flexion in that front leg. Inhale, bend through the knee. Inhale, rise, yep. And as you exhale, you bring the hands down to frame the front foot, send the hips back. A couple more times to your own breath. Inhaling, sweeping up. Exhale, bringing the hands down to frame the front foot, extending, sending the hips back. Nice flexion in that front ankle. Bend in through the front knee. Inhale to rise. And exhale, flowing through this breath to movement. It's like a beautiful dance. One more time, inhaling up. And exhale, extend and lower. Go ahead and pause in that runner's lunge and really breathe, sending the breath right to the back of the leg and the hip. Rebend into that front knee. Tuck the back toes, come up off of the back knee. Send the left leg back to meet the right. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Sit the hips right back to chair. Lots of chairs today. I'm feeling the quads. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe take a different arm variation. If you want to get in between the shoulder blades, you can take what's called eagle arms. You're going to wrap the right arm underneath the left. Try to get those palms to touch. If you can only get it to here. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure that you're lifting the elbows. And then as you exhale, you draw the hands away from the face. Sink a little bit deeper into those hips. Check in with the core. Nice and strong. One more deep inhale. Undo the arms wherever they are and forward fold. Extend the legs. Ooh, my puppies just woke up. It's like a stampede above me. So you're in this forward fold right now. Inhale up for a halfway lift. And then exhale, release. Plant the hands, step it on back to upper push-up position. You can flow through this vinyasa, which would be exhale to lower down, tucking the elbows into the side bodies, untuck the toes, lift the chest very gingerly for a little inhale. Exhale, release, tuck the toes, send it on back. And you can always flow through that, or you can just go right back to down dog, which is tucking the toes and lifting the hips. Nod the head yes, shake it no. Beautiful. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale, rise all the way up. Sweep the arms up and bring the hands right down to heart center. Go ahead and pause here. You can shake your legs out if you need to. Do a little shimmying. All right, we're going to come into tree pose. Let's do some balance today. Trees are coming back to life. Getting some growth, hopefully. Hopefully the weather starts. It was really cold this morning, actually, and last night. So hopefully that begins to change as the weekend progresses. So to come into tree, you're going to pour all the weight into your left foot. On an inhale, raise the right knee up. Keep the right ankle flexed. So that knee is right up, hovering above you. And then go ahead and you can reach down and you can grab your foot and you can plant it either on your shin or above the knee. Don't put your foot on the knee. So what this is going to look like here, I don't really model stuff usually, but I will definitely model this. So you're lifting that left knee and you're going to reach down and plant the foot on the inner thigh or on the lower shin, okay? Just not on the knee. And your hands can come to your hips or they can be at heart center. So you're going to really want to look at that right knee and really make sure that it's not caving in toward the midline, toward the camera, toward whatever device you're looking at. You really want that to be open, okay? So that's tree pose. So you're going to breathe here. And if you want to grow your tree, you absolutely can. Whatever that looks like for you. You can even do eagle arms here if you want. It's pretty challenging. All right, we're going to get a little intense here. So go ahead and release that foot. Keep the knee lifted. So what you're going to do is you're going to hinge at the hips. Send the right foot back toward the back wall. Keep that ankle nice and flexed. Hinge at the hips, bringing the chest kind of down, forward, and then send the arms out in front of you or back or keep them at heart center. This is called Warrior 3, okay? Very, very intense balance stuff here, yeah? Okay, so I want you to hinge all the way forward, bring the fingertips down. That back leg is still lifted. So you're coming into what's called a standing split. So your fingertips can come all the way down to the ground. Really focus on the flexion in that back ankle. Yep. Square the hips toward the ground. Focus on that internal rotation, so pointing the knee and the toes toward the earth. All right, go ahead and release that back foot down. So you're back in that forward fold. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Bring the hands right down to heart center. Go ahead and shake out your legs. I know that was a lot of balance on the left leg, right? You had that right leg lifted for a long time, so you can shake it out and get ready to do that on the other side. So we're going from tree to warrior three to that standing split, okay? And I'll guide you through that again. So pour the weight into the right foot, and on an inhale, lift the left knee. Go ahead and start to place that left foot wherever tree is showing up for you today. So if that's on your shin, that's absolutely fine. If the toes remain on the ground, and just so long as that knee is open, then that's your tree today. That's absolutely fine. The left and the right side in balance are always different. Well, not even in balance, in yoga in general. You'll be going into a pose and on one side, and maybe it'll be really difficult, and then the other side will be super easy, or vice versa. And a lot of judgment can come up within the mind about why one side isn't doing as good as the other. And that's the time where you come back to breath. You come back to bodily sensation. You come back to the sounds around you. Don't let the stories in your head spiral out of control. That's the only thing that you have control of, right? So breathing in, getting nice and tall, growing that tree if you haven't already, because I've been letting you linger there for a little bit, yeah? Engaging through the core, that can give you some nice, some stability in these balance poses, is really, really thinking about your core and getting nice and tall through that, yeah? All right, so now we're going to come into this warrior three. So you can release the foot, begin to send it back toward the back of the mat. Stay nice and flexed through that foot. Hinge at the hips and send the heart forward toward the front of the mat, taking whichever arm variation you want, arms forward, back, or heart center. Even at the hips you can do. Really focus on that internal rotation, sending the knee and the toes toward the earth, lifting the heart a little bit more, and as on your next exhale, you're going to lower the fingertips toward the earth, maybe lifting that back leg a little bit more, maybe it stays right where it is. So now you're in that standing split. One more deep inhale here, and on the exhale, you may lower the foot down. Yay, we did some balance today. Very good. All right, so you're in that forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift, and exhale, release. Heel toe the feet out past hip distance so that your feet are at the outer edges of your mat. Grab your opposite elbows and go ahead and sway and ragdoll for a little bit. It's a beautiful release for your low back, bending generously into the knees as you go from side to side. It's a nice swaying motion. Or if stillness is what you need right now and you just want to hang out and let gravity do the work of pulling on your low back, you can also just stay there, okay? Release the elbows. Let the fingertips come to the earth. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Pause in this one and get really tall toward the front of your mat. So the arms can come back behind you along your side bodies, or the fingertips can come to the tops of your thighs. And exhale, release. Plant the hands, step it on back to upper push-up position. So from this upper push-up position, you can flow through your vinyasa, or you can send the hips right back to down dog. Whatever you do, make sure you're linking the breath to the movement here. You inhale, engage the core. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips back. Okay? Awesome. Okay. Let's get into some wide-legged forward folds, shall we? This will be nice. Okay, on an inhale, raise the right leg to hip height. Look in between the hands, and on an exhale, bring that right foot right on through. So you're in this nice low lunge position. So what I want you to do from here is I want you to walk your fingertips toward, let's see, you're at the right. So you're going to walk them toward the right. So you're going to walk your, actually toward the left, I'm sorry. So come, yep, toward me. So both of your toes are going to be pointing in the same direction toward the side of the mat. And you're coming into a wide-legged forward fold here. Beautiful. Yes, yeah, you got it. Yep. So from that low lunge, you're in this low lunge. I want you to walk your hands toward the middle and point both toes. I know it's like really impossible to kind of like see what I'm doing, but both your toes are pointing parallel toward one side and your hands are down. So you're in a wide-legged forward fold. Cool? I hope today is sounding better. Seems like it is, so that's very good as well. So in this wide forward fold, make sure you have nice little micro bends in those knees. Your hands can come to both ankles outside. Excuse me, they can walk forward away from your face, or they can walk back through your legs. You have a couple different options here. Just kind of hanging out in this wide-legged forward fold, really sending breath to the backs of your legs. Inhale up, excuse me, for a halfway lift. And then exhale, release. All right, heel toe your feet in just like one or two, just so it's not as wide. And what we're going to do is we're going to come into goddess pose here. So you're going to bend the knees really deeply. Inhale, stack the shoulders over the hips. Yep, you can kind of point your knees out toward the outer edge of your mat. Yep, beautiful. And then your hands can come up into that cactus goddess pose position, or they can stay at the hips. Yep, so we're getting more into those quads here. Engage through the core. On an inhale, straighten and rise everything up. Exhale, rebend and sit and lower into that saddle. Yep. Inhale, up. Exhale, bend and lower. Maybe get a little bit lower into those hips. Okay, go ahead and forward fold. Pour it all out. Straighten those legs. Heel toe the feet back out into that wide-legged forward fold. Yeah. Very good. Maybe choose a different hand position, whether your hands are at opposite ankles or you walk them forward or back. Okay, so we're going to walk both of your hands back to the front of your mat. So you can bend into that front right knee. Flip the right toes toward the front of the mat. Come up to the toes of the back left foot. Now you're back in this low lunge position. Yeah? Beautiful. So when you set up that base, really making sure that the heel is directly over the toes. If you need to kind of make your stance wider, you absolutely can. And then you're going to inhale to rise. Stack the shoulders over the hips. Draw those inner thighs together. Swivel the back heel down, open right on up to warrior two. Beautiful. Inhale, flip the front palm. Bring it back. Keep that front knee bent. Come back on an inhale and bring that elbow right down to the front right knee. This is called side angle. So that left arm comes straight up toward the ceiling. Beautiful. And if you want more in the chest, you can turn the palm and take the top of the hand to the small of the back. And you're breathing here. If you want more, you can even take the left hand out over the top toward the front of your mat, over the ear. And keep breathing. Awesome. Look down at your front foot. Bring both hands down to frame that front foot. Come up to the toes of the back foot. Beautiful. Step that back foot halfway up your mat, coming back into this pyramid. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Bring that back foot all the way up. You're in that forward fold at the top of your mat again. Inhale up for that halfway lift. And exhale, release. Plant the hands, step it on back. Just send the hips right back to down dog. We're going to come into child's pose here. So lower the knees to the mat. Take them nice and wide. The big toes to touch. Send the hips right back over the ankles. And let's all just take a pause here. That was a lot of work. Let's see if I can remember it on the other side. All right, so you're back here in child's pose where we began our practice today. Breathing deeply, inhaling through the belly, maybe feeling the belly touch the tops of the thighs. And then exhale, letting the navel come up toward the spine. Let's do a couple more shoulder openers here. So both of your hands are out long in front of you toward the front of your mat. You're going to inhale, sweep the right arm up, and then bring the right arm and thread it under the left armpit, bringing the right cheek to the mat. This is called thread the needle. If you want to lift your hips to pour more weight into that shoulder joint, you absolutely can. Or you can take the left hand and push the right hand right into the mat. And just breathe here and kind of relax. This is a nice passive stretch where gravity is doing the work and the weight of your body is allowing the shoulder joint to open. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. Finding some nice, comfortable stillness here. Maybe it's uncomfortable, but either way, you have to sit with it and you have to breathe through it. And that's what life is all about right now, is being able to breathe through all of the emotions and all of the thoughts and all of the many things that your brain is constantly throwing at you and constantly creating all of these stories. What ifs, what ifs, what ifs. Come back to your breath. Come back to bodily sensation. Come back to the sounds around you. You have a couple of different options. On your next inhale, let's bring that right arm back out long to meet the left, back in this child's pose position. Let's do that on the left, shall we? So you're going to inhale, sweep the left hand up, and then bring it right underneath the right armpit. Take the left cheek to the mat, and you're in this thread the needle on the left. Breathing here. You can lift the hips if you want more weight poured into the left shoulder joint, or you can take the right hand and push the left hand into the ground. Good. Breathing in deeply and exhaling deeply. So the point of breathing in through the nose, now through the nose, is to keep that heat within the body, to allow the muscles to stretch deeper and deeper as you go throughout practice, yeah? One more deep inhale and a long sigh out the mouth. So let's take that left arm out from under the right armpit, bring it back out to meet the right. Maybe fire up the fingertips as if there were tennis balls underneath your palms, coming into those shoulder joints a little bit more. Seal the hands to the mat, and on an inhale, start to pull yourself back up through hands and knees. Tuck the toes and lift the hips and send them on back to down dog. Beautiful. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. We're going to heel toe our feet out past hip distance to the outer edges of your mat. The toes can be pointing toward the outer corners of your mat. You're going to bend the knees very generously and start to lower the hips. Lowering, lowering, lowering. We're coming into what's called Malasana squat. So you're going to get as low as you can. And if you can't get your hips all the way down, wherever your hips land is totally fine. The point of this is to get your hands to heart center and push your elbows right into your inner knees and really pushing them apart, but at the same time drawing the knees together, so you're creating resistance between the knee and the elbow. And when you do that, you get really tall. That resistance just sends you right up. So it's not about just sinking into the hips here. It's really about creating that resistance and creating muscular energy and action as you engage and press the palms together, elbow to knee, and you get nice and tall. Spread those collarbones. Imagine a string at the top of your head. Okay, a little bit. This is back now. I think I lost the wireless, but I turned the Wi-Fi off, so the data should be maintaining us, which is good. Okay, cool. So we're going through that flow of the little bit wider than hips distance forward fold back into the Malasana. So now at this point, on your next exhale into that Malasana squat, I'd like you to lower your hips right on down and just come right down to a seated position. Extend your legs nice and long out in front of you. So we're going to come into a seated forward fold here. So your legs are extended long in front of you. Your ankles are nice and flexed to protect the back of the knee. And then we're going to inhale the arms up to frame the head. And then exhale, bow forward over those extended legs, coming into this seated forward fold. Your hands can come to your knees, to your shins, to your toes, wherever they are. And a really nice way to kind of get into the side body here is to actually take your left hand and reach for that right ankle. So you're reaching across the legs to the outside of the right ankle, and that gets really nicely into the shoulder joint, into the side bodies, into those intercostals. So it's a little bit like it's like a twist that you're doing in the seated forward fold. Release the hands from wherever they are, and on an inhale, rise back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Inhale the arms up to frame the head again, and exhale, bow forward over those legs. Once your hands meet wherever they fall on your legs, the knees, shins, or toes, then you can start to walk the right fingertips over toward the outer left ankle. And breathe in this nice twist. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Noticing where this is lighting up the most in your body. And as you exhale, maybe softening that area a little bit. Release that twist, and on an inhale, rise back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Inhale the arms up, and then bring them right down to heart center. Beautiful. Okay, so on an inhale, let's make the arms nice and parallel over the legs. Tuck the tailbone and begin to lower down all of the way. A little bit of core work here. You can do this as slowly, as you want to get a little bit of burn in that core. Once your shoulders meet the earth, you can inhale the arms up overhead, point the toes toward the front of the mat for a full body stretch. And exhale, bring those arms down along your sides. Relax the feet. Just take a moment here with your back nice and flat against the earth. On an inhale, bring those knees up into your chest. Give them a hug, maybe rolling around on the sacrum, maybe bringing the forehead to touch the knees, curling up into a little ball. Rolling back and forth, or just pausing in the stillness of feeling your low back and maybe your mid back get a little bit of a stretch from holding those knees. Release your feet to the earth so your knees are tented and your feet are firmly on the earth. Walk the heels in toward the glutes as if you could touch them because your arms are going to be down along your sides. So you might be able to feel the backs of your heels there. And on an inhale, you're going to lift your pelvis and hips toward the ceiling, toward the sky. Really draw those inner thighs together as if there were a block in between your knees that you were squeezing. If you'd like to roll your arms underneath your shoulders to grab that arm bind, to interlace your hands at the small of your back, you may. Your heels are sealed to the earth. Draw those inner thighs together. You inhale, lift through the abdomen and the quads. Exhale, relax the glutes because I guarantee you're squeezing your glutes. The glutes are a super strong muscle group and they always tend to overdo the work of other smaller muscle groups. So it's our job in yoga to train the smaller muscle groups to do the jobs that they are there for and not let them be overwhelmed by larger groups. So once again, you inhale, lift through the quads and the abdomen, and exhale, soften those glutes again. I bet you're reclenched. I always do anyway, so I always have to, it's a constant inhale and exhale cueing with myself that I have to think about. To come out of this, you're going to come up to both tippy toes, inhale the arms up overhead, and then exhale, slowly roll down through each vertebrae, bringing your entire spine and your hips back down to the mat. Bring the arms back down along your sides once the hips meet the earth. We'll do this one more time. So on an inhale, bring those hips right on up, sending the pelvis up. If you'd like to roll your arms under, you can. Interlacing those hands underneath the low back. If you have a block and you want to just slide that block underneath the small of your back, you can also do that too. Just kind of hang out in that nice gravity stretch. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Inhale, lift through those quads, and exhale, soften the glutes. One more time. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, softening those glutes again. On your next inhale, come up to both tippy toes. Send the arms up, and then exhale, roll down through each vertebrae until your hips meet the earth. And once your hips and your spine are sealed against the mat, you bring your arms down along your sides. Heel toe the feet out past hip distance. Let the knees knock together in the middle of the mat. You can take your arms off of the mat in a nice capital T position, or you can have cactus arms, whatever works for you, whatever's clever and comfortable for your chest and your shoulders. And we're going to lower the knees over to the right. Coming into a nice twist here. You can look out over your left if that's comfortable for your neck. And just kind of breathe here. You're wringing out your muscles. You're wringing out your organs. When you're ready, on your next inhale, bring those knees back up through center. And then lower them down to the left. Looking out over your right shoulder if that's comfortable for your neck. On your next inhale, bring those knees back up through center. Bring the soles of your feet to touch and let your knees open like a book. Your hands can come down, maybe even holding the outside edges of the knees or just having them down along your sides. If you'd like them up and above, like behind your head, you can do that. Just kind of hang out here for a minute, getting into those front hip flexors. that are super duper strong. They actually initiate every single step that we take. So they're a very strong muscle group. And this is a wonderful stretch. If you want blocks to put underneath your knees, that's always an option too, because sometimes this can be a bit of an overstretch for some people. So the support of the blocks under the knees when they're open like this is a nice way to protect the hip flexors from overstretching. But for some of us, we really need this, especially if you live a very sedentary lifestyle, which we all kind of are doing right now, unless you have like a full access to like a workout regimen in your home. But working at home, sitting in general at a desk all day is really, really tough on those hip flexors. So making sure that you're getting up, taking breaks, walking around, getting that blood flowing. Let's take those hands to the outside edges of the knees and help your knees to close them like a book. Heel toe the feet out past hip distance. Let those knees knock back together. This is a nice little counter stretch for that. Breathing in and exhaling out. Bring both knees into your chest on an inhale. You can grab them and roll around again if you'd like, or just pause in the stillness of holding those knees. I'd like you to extend your legs up toward the ceiling. You can hold behind the knees to help support the legs, or the arms can be down along your sides. You can point the toes, flex the feet, maybe make little circles with your ankles. And so what this does is this is bringing all of the energy that you just expended on that practice back to the core. Just feeling all that blood, all of that energy draining right on back to give you a little bit of an energy boost to get through the rest of your day. Bend the knees in toward the chest. Reach in between the legs and grab the outside edges of your feet to come into happy baby, so then you can push the legs up. Your knees are still bent. You can open the legs nice and wide while you're still holding the outside edges of your feet. You can roll from side to side and get a nice sacrum massage if you want. Or you can just stay still and breathe. If you feel like your hips are coming up off of the ground, kind of let them sink and lower. Yep, very nice. And if you need to do anything else at this time to complete your practice, now is the time to do so. And when you've had enough, you can release your feet, let the legs come out long on the mat. If you tend to have any kind of low back pain for Shavasana, I would definitely advise maybe putting a pillow or a bolster underneath your knees, which will take the curvature out of your low back. But to come into this Shavasana right now, your legs are extended nice and long toward the front of your mat. The feet can just splay right open. The arms are down along the sides, or you can bring one hand to your stomach and one hand to your heart to connect to your breath. These last few moments of Shavasana are done in silence. It's a time for you to just absorb the practice that you just did to reconnect with your breath. You're not controlling the breath. It's just a natural flow. Maybe you notice the inhales and exhales, or you just kind of space out. This is just a time for you to just kind of relax after that hour-long practice that we just got to do. So we will spend the next few minutes in silence, and then when we are done, I will bring you out of it with my voice, and we will end class together, okay? So enjoy. For the last few moments, I'm going to read an excerpt from a book called Journey to the Heart. It's about learning to be present, which is what this practice is all about, being able to take this mindfulness and this ability to focus on breath and other anchors to stay in the present moment, which is definitely a skill set that I think that we all kind of need right now. Presence is a gift. Staying fully present for friends, family, ourselves, our lives. Staying in the moment with our hearts open will change other people's lives and ours. So often we've learned, out of habit or fear, to be only partially present, partially conscious, for ourselves, others, and our lives. We aren't certain what we're feeling. Our attention and energy are diverted to the next place, the next person. We're there, kind of. There's another way, a better way. One where we keep our hearts open and know what we feel. We take the risk of being vulnerable enough to share who we really are and to allow others to do the same. We become fully present for each moment and each person on our path. Yes, there are times when it isn't safe to be open, when the energy of a circumstance isn't right for us, but that usually reveals a lesson and dictates a choice. It may be time to learn, time to leave, time to feel, time to choose. Learn to release all that stands in the way of you and the present moment. Learn to let go of all that blocks you from being fully present for yourself and others. Give the gift of presence to yourself and the world. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing your attention back to your body and bringing your attention back to the room around you. Slowly go ahead and roll over to your right side and pause there for a moment. When you're ready, go ahead and using your hands and arms, push yourself up to a seated position. Come up into a nice dignified seat. Your legs are crossed, your hands can be on your knees or they can be at heart center with your thumbs pressing right against your heart space. Bow your head to your heart, lift your heart to your head, bringing the two closer together. Thank you so much for tuning in and for spending an hour with me this morning. My mom will be tuning in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. She's doing Flow and Restore, so I'll definitely be present for that, and I hope that you find some time to do that for yourselves as well. The light and the truth in me sees that and honors it in each of you. Namaste, everyone. Be healthy and be safe, and I will see you next time.